I didn't manage to record any sets, but horse stands. How did I get to the idea to do horse stands? Well, I've been warming up with bouncing squats or bottom half squats. Was doing that with no weight. Then I added a bar and I would bounce, and then 60, 100, whatever, all that stuff. And then today I was like, okay, bouncing. And I'm like, okay, while it's body weight only, why don't I hold for a few seconds in that half position, 90 degrees. So I held it for a second, then the next rep for 2, 3, 4. Then I thought, why don't I just stay here? The show is that. Holding it in that position is the hardest. And then I thought, why don't I do wall sits? Did a wall sit a couple of times. And then I thought, no, why don't I do horse stands? That's the hardest variation of all of them. And you're not leaning against the wall. You're actually holding your body completely. So I started doing a few sets. I did 3 lots of 1 minute. And I am shaking like a leaf. And it's more than just quads and mobility and all the rest of it. There's a lot of glutes, man. There's a lot of adductors. There's a lot of stuff going on with that. So then I started thinking about sumo deadlifts. Obviously, the thing starts with the horse stance. And then I started thinking about mobility. Started thinking about the machine that I bought, the middle split machine. Then I started looking at some videos and watched some guys, and they're like, yeah, basically all I did this to get middle splits. And I was like, what? That's an interesting take. I have messed around with horse stance in the past, but for a different idea, like completely different understanding of what I'm trying to do here. Now I'm kind of approaching it from the point of, I want to warm up for the squat. I'm doing a lot of lunges, single leg work, and I'm finding that when I'm doing those lunges, I'm spending a lot of time in non-locked out positions. When I'm doing a split squat, I'm not really fully extending the knee. I'm kind of like in the between. The knee is never going into full flexion and not full extension. And so that's kind of progressed into, well, why don't I just hold that into these really tough positions? Bouncing in and out of them, bottom half squats, really focusing. Now it's evolved into just holding in the worst position. I've done a few sets. My hips feel really loose. Now, I did those sets after the front squat that I'm showing here. I did a bit of wall sits before this, but I didn't do horse stands. It's kind of evolved over the training session today, which is supposed to be a very light session, hence all the experimentation that I do every other day. Just brainstorming different ideas how to approach a warm-up. I don't want to do split squats every day. I feel like it's exhausting to do the same position, same movement every single time. Yes, it's just body weight, but it's very, very challenging to do 20 split squats. At least for me it is. So, horse stands. Tomorrow I'm going to come in and I'm going to solely just do a few sets of horse stands and see how it feels. I'll try to do overhead squats tomorrow because it's a back day tomorrow. So I'll do overhead squats tomorrow, and I feel like, the way I do overhead squats, it's kind of like a wider stance. So the horse stance should feed well into overhead squats, and then overhead squats should feel like a nice transition into front squats. It's interesting. These experiments that I'm doing are so vital for me, of just trying to work out what's what. I've got a whole bucket list of things that I can do. If, let's say tomorrow I need to come in and hit an impressive number on the squat, I've got a few things on my mind that I can turn to, a whole bucket of things that I can just turn to and be like, okay, these are the things that I can do to really just make sure that I feel good and then squat well. So I'm going to experiment these odd days and see which one's the best. Horse stance feels good, and it feeds into this whole idea of middle squats. So let's see how it goes tomorrow. I'm really excited about tomorrow. Appreciate you guys. Peace out.